Oh, hello, and welcome to Audente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have, for Niche-vember, we're doing a Reddit November and a Dinovember episode in one. We're doing I Know How the Dinosaurs Really Ended. So this one is on, obviously, Reddit Nosleep.
Why, obviously?
Because I just said that it was a Reddit November episode earlier.
I was not paying attention.
Thanks, gamer.
I was getting my notes up.
Fair. All right. This one is by KiddKannibus. That's KiddKannibus. And
gmail.com. Sorry. Usually when you spell at gmail.com comes after it.
Well, I wanted to spell it out since it was not like the actual, like the normal spelling of KiddKannibus.
Okay, fair enough.
So I guess I'll just go into the rundown here. So narrator is a government scientist on a team who have created a viable time machine. They launched the time machine on its maiden voyage to the extinction event of the dinosaurs. The team is made up of 4 people: Lester, the brilliant scientist behind the machine; Zach, a paleontologist; Elena, a meteorologist and navigator; and Nair, the G-Man, since the project was government funded. Did I mention the government found Lester on the deep web while he was working on his time machine in his basement and recruited him, and his time machine experiments, this is all about a little over a month ago, since after this got posted. So it took a month after he got recruited for the time machine to get fixed or get built, and then a week after that they launched. Anyway,
no, you didn't bring all that up.
Yeah,
but you did just now, so that's good.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for a break to be like, no, you didn't mention it, but you did now. But you just kept talking.
I know. Well, that's my secret. I'm always talking.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's so true.
Anyway, so they head to a spot in the Yucatan Peninsula where they can observe the meteorite strike from a safe distance. And things immediately seem off. The dinosaurs rather than flee the impending doom, as animals often do when something bad is about to happen, are all migrating to the epicenter of the supposed impact, almost as though in a trance. Amidst a circle of countless dinos, and with scientists observing with a telescope, three beings descend from the sky and end into at the point where the meteor was supposed to strike. Each are giants, the tallest being a black-skinned, goateed man with metallic hair. The neck.
I don't believe it went into saying how giant they were, just that they were large.
Yeah, based on what happens in shortly after they arrive, I'm gonna say that their giantism is pretty huge. They're pretty big.
Okay, fair enough.
The next one is an angel, just straight up a biblical angel, and then the third is a reptilian with a black kilt. Referred to by the other nameless entities as Enki. It appears that life on Earth is a project for these beings, and some others that are not present. Enki being the one in charge of the creation process, and he apparently has failed. As they argue, it is revealed they were trying to build a servitor race, but the dinosaurs are too stupid at this stage. And as they observe the time travelers up on the hill, it appears life will become too smart for their needs. After some bloody carnage upon dinosaurs, the tallest man just straight up KOs several small dinosaurs, and just wipes out a T-Rex handedly.
Kicking one of them into vaporizes.
Yeah. Just holds the T-Rex by the throat as its terribly small arms try feebly to attack. Yeah, and then he rips off her skull and beats and smashes her into the ground into a crater.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all effortless. No effort is involved from this dude. So yeah, and then he snaps his finger, and all the other dinosaurs break out of their trance and begin just killing each other. after that bloody carnage is happening, the trio begin gathering 2 of each creature, and this includes 2 of the humans, who the angel just appears before. Lester and Elena are taken. Zach and Nair are sent back to their time machine, and as the Earth is purged of the dinosaurs, they flee back to the present day. There, they find the same migration trance happening to humans. Like people are just like walking en masse, like losing themselves and just walking en masse into the ocean to some set of coordinates and such. And like it's basically kind of like a apocalyptic event kind of thing going on. To which Zach fails his sand roll and kills himself, leaving Nair to write this post up and leave it somewhere online for someone to find as he starts hearing the buzzing himself, I guess, of the trance. And then that's where it ends. So I guess it's on to everyone tolerates the grammar inquisitions at this point. It's a fan favorite, as we found out. Boy, does she love her charts and graphs. So there's just like a space between charts, like right in the middle of charts. So it's just need to be one word.
No, actually, they're char TS graphs.
Oh, okay.
You're referring to.
Okay, fair. Also, there's a second period that I don't think has to be there.
Unless it's meant to be an ellipses.
Maybe. In that case, it needs an extra period.
I didn't even notice there was a double period there.
I think that happened. I think it's happened a couple of times in the story. Like I've seen like a double period, and like it's either supposed to be like just a period or an ellipses. But the next one though, Lester, you better get you ass out here right now. I didn't get you cleared for time travel for you to act like a coward when the moment arrives. Yeah, so I think that's just supposed to be your. Apparently, traveling back in time has started caveman speech.
Yes.
As most things do.
Yes. It's a common occurrence, really. Like there's several sources of the epidemic that is caveman speech.
With this section here, I have a little bit. Like it's also grammar, but it's in the same section. Should I just mention it now, or on my turn?
Yeah,
so with this whole thing, where it's like she's fixing her glasses, she started going over one of her charts. Boy, does she love her charts and stuff. And then she says, "Yeah, I might stay in the pod and watch from the screens." At which point, Zach doesn't respond to that. But he responds with, "Lester, you better get your ass out of here." But at this point, she hasn't been given a name. So at this point, I'm like, her name is Lester?
I mean, you know what? Maybe her parents hate her.
Maybe her parents hate her.
Yeah. Or maybe Lester. Yeah, maybe Lester is a kind of a non-gendered name that we're just not aware of.
Maybe, but they refer to her as her. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, no, I didn't mean like she's not gendered. I mean, like the name itself, Lester, might be used for both male and female.
I don't believe it is.
I don't think so
either. As far as I know.
Regardless,
it's not her name.
Okay, yeah, you're right. It's Elena.
But yeah, I had to read for another couple of minutes to find out that this gender, that this Lester person is this other dude who's like a nerd with like brown hair and stuff. So if it just led with it, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah, it is odd that like they just jump to that.
Yeah, there's 2 ways that could be fixed. One, when she's described like visually, put her name in there as well, because every other person that gets introduced, it says their name and what they look like. With her, it's just this is what she looks like. That's all that matters.
Yeah, because when I was doing the rundown, I couldn't remember what her name was, and I was like, and I started looking like, what's her name? It's like, and I started looking through the descriptions at the beginning of the story because like, oh well, that's clearly where her name's gonna be, but like I couldn't find it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think it was like halfway down the story when I finally found Elena. So it's like, okay, there we go.
She's just there to be taken and for Nair to be upset. That's her entire.
You're not wrong.
She's
I have that.
Be an attractive female to be taken.
Yeah, it's very sci-fi movie like plot.
Pretty much. But either way.
Yeah, I'll get back to that. We'll get back to that in our actual thoughts.
2 ways this can be fixed. One being the one young woman just having a name right from the get-go. And the second being when it says, "Yeah, I might just stay in the pod and watch the screens." That's what she says. Then follow that with Jack nodding to her, then called past her to their remaining member, "Lester, you better get your ass out here." So the narrator is telling us that he's not talking to the person that just talked.
Yeah. All right. So on to the next one here. This one's really kind of like just subtle. It's just there's it's like, "You're the paleontologist. You tell me. It's pretty obvious." Dialogue, but the your from like you're the paleontologist should be the one that is like you are the paleontologist,
Mhm.
like the one that's combined. Whereas right now it's just kind of like the possessive, I believe.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and then the next one, my partner and I were all in the moment we heard about it. So I think we need a comma after we're all in it. Like my partner and I were all in the moment we heard about it. So there's no comma there, but so like every time I kept reading that, I kept reading it like all one thing, like with no breath. When I think
And
that
putting
like there
it's in
should
it
be,
early,
hmm?
and then saying we're all in it instead of
Yeah,
in the moment and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, like I think it should be actually like my partner and I were all in, comma, the moment we heard about it. Because like we're all in, and then like the moment we heard about it, like that, like we need a
Or
break there.
or is all in supposed to be dashed out?
I think we're all in. I think it's supposed to be just like we just need like a break there, just to like the help, like to because like that is a saying, like we're all in.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Or like all in. I don't know. Like all in one, I believe is all dashed out.
yeah, but that's we're all in one. Like that's I don't think it needs that. I don't think it needs the that. Yeah, I don't think it needs that. So
No, you're right.
all right, moving on to the next one here. Elena had a confused look on her face, then pointed over to Zach to take a look through the scope. So for me, I think that this like there that first two like over to Zach. I think it should have been like um uh Elena had a confused look on her face, then point. Oh, actually, that also needs a comma right there. Then pointed over for Zach to look or to take a look through the scope.
Probably. Honestly, my mind is still stuck on the last one you were talking about because I was trying to think of how to fix it.
Okay.
Because
And-
I'll let you finish, but
Yeah.
the previous one, my partner and I were all in. If you comma that out, it would be saying my partner and I were all in the moment we heard about it. Like that sounds weird. The
Well,
way it should be is the moment we heard about it, my partner and I were all in.
oh yeah, that would also like just restructure the sentence entirely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
there isn't meant to be a break in there. You just need to make sure that all in isn't jumbling everything up.
Okay. Yeah, no, that seems like a better version. Yeah, no, good job.
Okay, please continue.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's bugging me.
Well, yeah, just yeah, that's this was my last grammar inquisition was just I feel like it should you're not pointing over to Zach to take a look through the scope. It should be pointed over for Zach to look at through the scope, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm reading it now again. Like when I read it, I was like, oh, that needs to be fixed. And then now I'm reading it again. It's like I guess it could still work as like it's just really weird, or like it's still coming off kind of strange to me.
Well, it explains her confused look on her face because she doesn't know what she's doing.
Clearly, yeah. No, that's it.
Maybe we should be like, Elena had a confused look on her face, then pointed over to Zach for him to take a look in the scope.
Yeah, that works.
All right,
Okay.
cool. Mikey, you're up. I'm done.
All right, so I have.
I wash my hands of the grammar inquisition.
Until next week.
All right, so I have an it story with some ands at the end.
And
Do we ever hang on? Do we ever not get it stories? It seems like everything
I
has
think-
way too many front-ends.
I think Mikey's trying now, like purposely trying to find it stories at this point.
Yeah, but if there's no sentences that start with its, ands, or buts or whatever, then
Then the
there's no
story is
story.
perfect.
The fact,
Yeah, then the
that he
story
has
doesn't
the
need.
story.
We've had a couple of times where he hasn't done it.
I guess
There's
that's
just
true.
unfortunately it is a very common like writing foible.
Yeah, it really is.
Like I do it all the time when I'm writing. But anyway, and now an it story with Mikey. The E stands for evil. Take it away.
It was Lester's pride and joy, his life's work. It was Lester's dream, after all. It would have been messed up for him to do all of the work and not get to participate. It was strange to see the continents in different positions and angles, pretty disorienting for someone who doesn't know better. It was perfect. It was so beautiful. It felt like true nature, literally untouched and unchanged by man. It's never bad to the point where it would be a problem. but they bickered back and forth to each other, enough for the message to get across. It was slight, but enough to take notice. It was crazy to see an apex predator like a T-Rex stand next to their favorite snack without wanting to eat it. It had a glow that emanated slightly from its center, and the most perfect facial features I have ever seen, with bright golden yellow eyes and silver hair. It looked at the dinosaurs with disgust. It started to pick up some speed while the figures just watched it with amused gazes. And with that comment, I felt my soul spit out of my body with pure terror as the angel made eye contact with me through the telescope. And with that, I watched them fly away into the mass of floating animals, and then the beam of light appeared again. Finn.
Wow. That like so at the very beginning when you were like talking about like Lester's like great creation and then like started talking about land and stuff like that. So no time machine at all. But I was getting more of like the Slutty Bartfast kind of like thing from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where like he's actually like the architect of a planet. But he's like talking about like the continents are perfect. Like he's the one that like designed the continents the way they should
pretty
be.
Much,
and
stuff. I saw it as he like jumped to a different planet basically, and he's in space, like in a spaceship, viewing this other planet that's untouched by man. And then when it gets down and it's talking about the T-Rex and everything, and how the T-Rex has like beautiful and perfect facial features with long white hair. Like, okay.
Yes, the Fabiosaurus Rex.
Fabiosaur, yeah.
Fabiosaurus Rex.
Rex, yeah.
Yep. I got the title card, guys. We're good.
There you go.
Walk away. But yeah, no, like the what's the angel stuff started like what? This story like it kind of like really brings to light like, man, there's a lot of weird stuff in this story.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Alright. So on to Gamer in Yellow.
Oh, okay. I was marveling at this when a beam of intense white light bursts from the skies, making the pure blue in the area warp away, revealing the stars, and went straight into the circle of the animals created. So, is this meaning that there's a sky beam of white light, which is removing all the blue from the sky, making it look like nighttime?
So yes.
Yeah, that's my interpretation of that. Yes, it was a sky beam. First off,
yes.
The other one is like, yeah, I was trying to think of like what he was saying, what he meant there, but yeah, I think that's where it like that I didn't go to like, oh, like it turned the night sky like into the night sky. I thought it was like it punched a hole into the sky so that like basically into the ozone layer so that you could see through into space. But yours makes a lot more sense now.
I mean, I guess because like the blue of the sky is because of the ozone layer and everything, right?
Yeah, like, well, I mean, there's also, yeah, basically, like, I thought it punched a hole into the atmosphere, like, with, like, because it was so harsh that it just, yeah, it caused, like, that, like, you could see the stars through the hole, but, like, I think yours makes a lot more sense, that, because, like, logically, like, it would just, like, make it look like nighttime, because everything else is so dark, in comparison.
Yeah, but it's not, I don't think it's making the animals on the planet dark in nighttime. It's just fucking up with the sky, removing the blue from the sky. Yeah. So it's not reducing light, it's just messing the way that the sky looks.
Okay.
Your explanation of the ozone being ripped away makes sense, because then there wouldn't be blue, you would just see space. Because if you're on the moon and you're looking out at space, it's just space.
Yeah.
However,
but yours also makes sense.
Wouldn't that immediately kill the dinosaurs?
Well, no.
Immediately?
Well, no, not if it was just a small hole. Like that's what I'm thinking. Like I thought it was just like a smaller, like it punched a hole through the atmosphere, but like that's why you could see it. But yours actually makes way more sense, because it's just making it seem like it's suddenly like removing the blue of the sky so that and making it like nighttime so you can actually see the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, yours makes a lot more sense, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's making the blue in the area warp away. In the area, meaning probably like as
hundreds of miles.
I imagine.
Yeah, probably like hundreds of miles away. like, in diameter.
Mhm. But yeah, the way I rewrote it is I was marveling at this when a beam of intense white light bursted from the skies. And oh yeah, the other part I had confusion with this is it's saying that there's a burst of white light, and then it explains what it's doing in the sky, and then it says where it hit. But it's a beam that would immediately hit the ground. So the way that I would personally rewrite it is describe the entire beam thing, including the impact zone, and then
Yeah.
show its effects. So I would do that by saying I was marveling at this when a beam of intense white light burst from the skies and went straight into the middle of the circle the animals created. The beam of light drained the blue from the sky, leaving the sky to resemble nighttime.
Yeah, there, done.
Cool.
Like that, yeah, that makes a little bit more like coherent sense in terms of like. I mean, I didn't see a problem with it initially, but like now that you pointed that out, that makes a lot more sense to me.
Okay. Cool. And that's all I got for the grammar and yellow.
All right. Well, on to actual thoughts then. Going to start with this one here. I ended up finding one of his attempts to put his ideas out when I went down a random rabbit hole on the deep web. I saw his potential, and I managed to persuade the government to start funding his project once I got Lester to show them how it worked. The deep, basically Project Paperclip 2.0. And anybody who doesn't know what Project Paperclip is, it's when the U.S. government was basically secreting away German and Nazi scientists to America for their own ends.
Right, yes.
During World War II, or at the end of World War II. I just like, the deep web. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Hello, dark web, my old friend.
It's nice to connect to you again.
I wanted to keep going, but I was like, I got nothing.
Yeah, there's no point.
One day we'll write the lyrics to that song, to that cover song.
We said that like 4 or 5 times, and we haven't even attempted.
We'll get to it, maybe. Anyway,
we will have to go back and find all the little jingles that we've made throughout the years.
Oh dear God. If anybody out there listening would like to comment, by all means.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, moving on to my next one here. So this is basically a paragraph, and I have some stuff to unpack after I read it. In less than a month, Bessie was complete. They were pleased, and that's where I came. And that's where I come into the picture. I'm a physicist / theoretical scientist. I've been working with the government for a while now, and they have always supported my work. Recently, they and I have been discussing the potential of Bessie. After a lot of discussion, we decided to start off with something important but not too controversial, like trying to see the crucifixion of Jesus or something like that. Something that was significant but shrouded in mystery that can only be solved by witnessing it. We had the perfect idea. Observe the Cretaceous Paleogene extinction event. So here's what I got to unpack here. Number one, I guess Lester was nearing completion when the government stepped in, because a month seems like a very short amount of time to finish your job.
Well,
then again,
you
he's
have
got
funding.
Yeah, that's my counterpoint, is like government funding and whatnot. I mean, if movies have taught me anything, like that was basically the plot of Deep Core, I think, where like the guy had to like was working in like a garage in Nevada, or like in a desert on his perfect like drilling machine, like his like basically like a giant like drilling vehicle. And then the government basically like needed him to use his drilling techniques and whatnot to go into the core of the earth to restart the earth. And the government just basically gave him like a blank check to finish it, so they could like get the movie going. So yeah, I mean, if movies have taught me anything, yeah, like government funding will definitely expedite the process for mad scientists.
Of course.
And next up here, we got number 2. Hi, narrator. Seriously, no, everyone else gets a name except for the narrator, who has like a full like job description and everything. The only people that don't get a name otherwise are the tallest dark man and the angel. Like everyone else gets a name. What the hell?
Well, okay, with the tallest dark man and the angel, they would have had their names said for anyone to know. The only reason you know the other guy's name is because they shit talked him.
Yeah, because they keep telling how much of a failure he is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And with Nair, I think the whole reason of Nair is because it's a self-insert character, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So
supposed
you can imagine yourself being this character because no one's referring to him by a different name other than you. Like if he was called Steve and your name isn't Steve, you can't get in the head of Steve.
I get that, but at the same time, this story is also kind of different from our usual stories that have Nair, because this one's like Nair is posting this online. So
Yes.
why not give us a name for the guy who posted this? Like, he's posting this for people to read because in his fictional world, the apocalypse is happening.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, and then my last one is like, oh, nothing too controversial. Just 65 million years into the past. I would have thought the government might, insist on some baby steps rather than potentially alter the fabric of reality if an error occurs.
Yeah.
Nothing controversial, nothing too controversial. Just an extinction level event that wiped out the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. That's not too controversial. Like, let's not go like a week. Let's not go back a week and see if the time machine even fucking works.
Yeah.
Let's just. It's only been a month since you completed the story. Like, it's been you completed it after a month of work, and we've been talking about this about what our next step is for about a week. I think it's time to move forward. Like that. I mean, granted, like I said earlier, this story seems very Pulp Fiction-y, very movie, very like B movie, like sci-fi sort of like plot going, like in terms of its thrills and adventure-y stuff. And that's not a bad thing. Like, that's actually a compliment to it, because it is fun and exciting, like the way this story has been going. But I did have to suspend my suspension of disbelief on certain details.
Yeah.
To enjoy the story a little bit.
My whole point with them going back to the extinction event is like, they're saying like, we have the perfect idea. We're going to go back to when the dinosaurs were extinct and see what happened.
Yeah.
But here's the flaw in their perfect idea. Aside from your flaws that you just mentioned with changing, all of history.
Yeah.
If something happened to kill all the dinosaurs, what's making them think that they're going to survive?
That's actually my next quote.
Yeah.
So, okay, moving on to that one for a second. Elena stepped up and pointed east. Still looking down at her own little tablet, she said, I'm sorry for South American listeners. I'm going to butcher this name. The Chicxulub crater was discovered. I'm sure I've done that wrong. Anyway, was discovered this way. So I think that the area over there would be the best spot for observation. She pointed over to a hill that overlooked the whole general area. It was perfect. This seems as ill-advised as being someone on a nearby battleship when a nuke is tested out at sea. Like, this is so legitimately sketchy and risky. But again, also incredibly pulpy and sci-fi levels of plot fodder. Like, I could see a movie I could see this being on the Sci-Fi Channel. This whole plot. But yeah, to your credit, yeah, they're like, oh, we're just gonna go to a hill on what we project to be the safe zone, but like within safe observation of the crater, of what the crater is gonna be like. Like, I'm sorry, like you need to be at least like maybe like on the Florida coast. And I think that would maybe be like the safest spot. Like, you don't want to be on the Yucatan Peninsula when the meteor strikes.
They did say that they had like a custom-made super telescope.
Yeah, but they're still on the Yucatan Peninsula. The Yucatan Peninsula isn't that big, guys. Like, it's big, like geographically, or like for people, like in terms of like people and population and stuff like that. But like, the Gulf of Mexico is supposed to have been partially formed from the crater of the asteroid that destroyed the dinosaurs. So, and I mean, again, as the story turns out, it wasn't a meteor, so they're fine. Or they're fine / not fine.
Yeah.
As we discover. But, like, from their prediction, what they were expecting, they shouldn't have been on the Yucatan.
But they also shouldn't have been there at all, so.
I mean, yeah, they're also time travel. I guess they're like, it's also kind of funny, like, they wouldn't put their time machine really close so they could just hop back into the vessel right as the like the concussion force and like the terrible like pyroclastic explosion of like dust and whatnot being kicked up.
The shockwave and
shit.
Exactly.
All that shit isn't happening. Like, I mean, like they have to run to their time machine.
It's a movie. Of course they do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's the other thing. It was like, yeah, that's again my suspension of disbelief was removed several points in the story just to enjoy this popcorn fodder. It's like, yeah, this makes no sense, but I'm enjoying it.
Also, they didn't really explain how the time travel machine works, not in regards to the mechanics of how you go back in time, but where they're standing when they get out. Is that where their facility is in the future? So they just go back in time and that's where they are?
If that's the case, I honestly, actually, you just poked a huge hole into the story. It really should have been pointed out that maybe they could, the time machine is a space-time machine. It can move through space and time. So it can move in its location. Because that's a big thing about time machines is in cartoons and stuff because what was it in certain in certain cartoon shows and movies they go back in time and they go to a specific timeline and they're just immediately at the place that is famous for that makes that time period famous, like ancient Greece or ancient Rome, even though they're in America.
Yeah.
So it's everywhere wasn't ancient Greece, guys. I feel like that's actually a big thing that needs to be kind of added is that maybe their facility, they moved their the time machine to a facility at the Yucatan Peninsula so they could time travel, or maybe the time traveling machine can go teleport to other places around the world as well.
Yeah, it's like a Terminator. You can just set in the coordinates and that's where you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because in Terminator, that's exactly what happens. It's like the facility in the future isn't where that alleyway is or where that outskirts of town is. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's actually a very good point.
Here's another thing, though. Even if the facility was just outside the crater, that's not where it would be in the past because Pangea.
Yeah, because because the not even Pangea, because at that point it wasn't technically Pangea. At the end of the Cretaceous, there were, I think at that point, Africa and South America were still had basically just departed.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think they were separated at that point. As I go and Google a Cretaceous period.
Up? Oh, so sad.
Yeah, I know. It was pretty hard. It took several millennia for them to get over it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just take a look at a map, Cretaceous map. Oh yeah, no, they're just split up at that point. Actually, it doesn't look that Earth outside. Basically, the Pacific is massive, and the Atlantic is basically a gulf, or not a gulf, a strait at this point. It's just a thin separation between the continents.
And my brain is weird. As soon as you said the Atlantic is a gulf, I just imagined it the shape of a Volkswagen Golf. Why did I think that? I know what you mean, but that's the first thing that went to mind.
Your pun mind is just just punning it up completely.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. I expected it.
That's true.
Everyone tolerates the grammar position. I just tolerate your punniness.
That's good.
Anyway, so you punched a hole in the plot a little bit with the space-time continuum.
And in that situation where a time machine, you show up relative to where the time machine is, do you think that would be geographical, latitude, longitude, or in regards to the section of soil that you're on? Because that plate moves, but it moves away from that longitude and latitude, right?
Yeah, you need to tie it to the soil or something because of the fact that even though the world spins, if you're to time travel just back a day, the Earth is in a different spot in the solar system.
Oh fuck! That's another thing. That's true.
This is why time travel is a bad idea, guys.
Yeah, really.
Both in reality and writing. You gotta really work on your time travel mechanics or make it magic.
Yeah. Technically, if I time traveled right now, a minute ago, I would just appear
in the sky,
kilometer away from my house, just outside, probably, right? Because the world turns. And
possibly in the sky a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, you might actually end up in space, depending.
Fuck.
Yeah, no, that's
scary.
Oh God. Yeah.
All right, please continue.
Yes, I will. This is, as soon as the story started introducing like fringe science fiction stuff, I was like, oh god, we're gonna have a lot to talk about here.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, moving on to the my next one here. Where are we? Elena tapped my shoulder, and I looked over to her. She had a worried expression as she looked out at the sky and back at us. The meteor should be coming soon. If anything, they should be flying in the opposite direction. They seem to be going towards the impact zone instead. Elena pulled out our specially made telescope and started to survey the area. I noticed small beads of sweat start to form on her brow as she stared into the scope. What the? All the animals on land are heading in the same way as well. Zach, is this some sort of migration? No, this is not the kind of behavior I was expecting to see. So out of all this, like out of like okay, this is like fringe science. Let's just move forward. Like let's just have a fun ride. Like I'm going to ignore the science behind this. This scene and the behavior kind of genuinely intrigued me as to what was going on. Like, cause like at this point I wasn't sure what was going to happen, like how the dinosaurs were going to end. So I was like, oh man, that would be really crazy if like this like is this like the dinosaurs like because they see their end, like they like because of it's such a like an apocalyptic monumental like extinction of an end kind of thing. Are they just going to like to face their fate? Like are they just like is that like the dinosaurs actually just sat there in the crater and just got wiped out? Like I wasn't sure what was going on, so I was very intrigued, and it actually wanted me to keep it kept me wanting to read as to like what was about to happen, because like it's such an odd behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So I give the story points for that. And my next one here,
Well,
I had to
before you
admit.
continue,
Oh yeah.
I have two, because of how big of a block of that information you just went over. I have like two things that are related to that.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Go for it.
One I didn't actually make a note of, but you mentioning it made me wonder. They say that they have this specially made telescope, but they don't
Yes.
do anything with it. That means that you needed a specially made one. You could have just had a normal telescope.
Or like
Well-
some advanced like binocs, because that's what it honestly felt like. I was not seeing a telescope. I was just seeing like some kind of like binoculars they were using. Like
Well,
the whole
they
time.
said that it's like a telescope, so I imagine it's kind of like the spotter scopes that snipers use, where it's like a little mini telescope that's on a tripod.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's specially designed so it can see really far away.
I mean, most telescopes see pretty far away.
Thank you, gamer.
That's what they do. So, but they didn't specify, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like specially made to see much further than normal telescopes. That's fine, but it's just specially made. It could just mean that it has like gold trim on it for reasons, you know.
I mean, yeah, they really should like kind of elaborate at this point, like that they're in the safe zone from a predicted crater or from the predicted meteorite strike. Like maybe they're at the like they're nowhere near, like, because at this point they're up on a hill next to the epicenter, as far as I could tell. And they're just looking down. Like
it wasn't clearly said how far away they are. If they have this specially made future telescope, it's probably got like a rangefinder and shit on it. And like all this fancy dancy shit, they could be like, okay, well, we're at so and so kilometers away.
Yeah, exactly. They should have like gone a little bit. This is something where I think the author should have done a little bit of research on like just like where you would need to be from a safe viewing point for an asteroid impact, or for even like, because I'm sure somebody online has done some math as to like a prediction of like how big that meteor strike was, like how big that that crater and explosion was.
For sure. But considering all these characters are scientists, I kind of wish they had more tools to get data, because they're there to get data.
Yeah,
so
all they have
just
is like
looking at it. They didn't even have any like a video camera to record anything. They just had a telescope.
Tablets. No, they had tablets, so they were doing selfies. I was like, yo, man, duck face next to a duck-billed dinosaur.
Jesus Christ! But yeah, like
you know what I mean, though.
Very
like,
professional with it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which is like kind of weird.
Professional, like the woman who wants, like Elena, who wants to like take a flower from the Cretaceous period and try and bring it back.
Yes,
because we don't know if the butterfly effect is correct or not.
Mm-hmm.
Which
yeah.
I mean, they're if we want to go into that bucket of worms, I mean, them stepping on the soil, the very ground is already causing a potentially butterfly effect.
The
Yeah.
sound of them arriving could have done that.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah, like the sound of thunder is literally like, yeah, like that's the actually I literally have a movie called The Sound of Thunder, which is based off of the old sci-fi story. The name of the author escapes me right now, but basically it's this plot. A Sound of Thunder was a short sci-fi story written by Ray Bradbury in 1952, where like people go on time expeditions using safe like methods, like basically like force fields, so they don't touch anything, and they wait till the extinction level event of the dinosaurs, and then they use like basically CO2 rounds to kill dinosaurs, so that the rounds will just vanish and like they won't have any, like they won't leave any trace left. And then when they return to the Earth, like Back to the Future, they find that the world has been changed in some way. And then like spoilers for a science fiction story, short story, and a movie, but that has been done to death in various mediums. But they find out that the one guy stepped off the path, like the safe path, and stepped on a butterfly, and it was on his boot, and that's what changed the course of history.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they could have squashed an insect on their path over to the hill and changed the course of history.
But them arriving, landed on and squashed a patch of grass that some animal was meant to eat, and because they couldn't get to it, they died, and that fucked everything up.
Yeah. Like some mammal or some mammal that was our ancestor was going to eat that blade of grass and survive, and didn't. No, exactly. Like this is, again, time travel scary because we don't know what the ramifications are of us changing, of us being there. Like that's the issue with time travelers, is like time travel is scary because of so many different unknowns.
Yeah, if you try to think of it in a realistic point of view, yeah. But if you just be like, okay, it's time travel, it's just popcorn, like you said, right?
Yeah. If you try not to, this is the suspension of disbelief. It's like, all right, forget all the stuff you know about time travel, like and how it shouldn't work, because they're just trying to use time travel for this silly, or for this adventure game, or for this adventure story, or this thrill ride. Yeah.
So just chill and just have fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. However, the other part that I wanted to bring up, which would be much quicker probably, it's in regards to them constantly saying that this isn't normal or this isn't right. How would they know what's right and wrong? Because they're guessing that these certain dinosaurs would get along and these certain dinosaurs would prey on these ones. But for all we know, they were all broing out back then. They didn't kill anyone.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Some weird, like, celestial being comes down and feeds them and leaves, like, so they don't actually hurt each other. How do they know what's normal?
God. Yeah, that would actually be really cool. It's like, like if it's like they get here, it's like, wait, dinosaurs had a whole civilization? Like they were actually intelligent beings? What?
Yeah.
Like the combined power of their two brains were actually like made them even smarter than humans? What?
My God.
They were just really densely packed, like brains, so they were super dense.
Yeah.
But they
super
got
efficient.
Exactly. Like I would actually like that would be really cool dino story, is like if we found out that dinosaurs were actually like an intelligent species that just like roamed around. Like they were basically Flintstones. But dinosaurs.
Their brains are so small just because they've evolved at that point for their brain to be super efficient. So it could be smaller and smaller. It's like how our phones are getting smaller and smarter. Their brains are smaller and smarter.
Exactly. Yeah. Or like, maybe like bigger isn't better. They're just they evolved in a they evolved to be smarter but bigger. Comparatively, right? So no, I'd be down. I'd be down for that kind of a story, for like that kind of a plot. It isn't the plot we get, but
no.
You're the whole like prediction thing. It's like, that's again like this story is leaning really hard on like assumptions and like the unknowns.
Yes, please continue.
Okay. So here's the one. I had to admit. Oh yeah. So this is this part from what we were talking about earlier during the I think either the Grammar Inquisition or during the rundown, but. I had to admit I've started to grow fond of her throughout this past week. And that's really saying something too, as I spent most of my life on my work and science instead of thinking about love or a potential family. whoa, whoa there, buddy, getting a little ahead of yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of a
like,
rough deal.
I mean, this kind of budding romance in a story like this, she's goner. Like,
Yeah,
she's probably a
she's
goner.
so dead.
And
Either
update,
he's gonna die or she's done. But
Yeah.
considering he's posting all this,
Yeah.
he's not dead.
yeah, and I mean, even like not even like in a short story that's like only like 10 pages long, but like in a movie and stuff, and also like in the circumstances, we've only known her a week.
Yeah, really.
Like this is very sci-fi schlocky in terms of like that kind of like romancy thing. And an update, after I finished the story, well, I wasn't wrong. She didn't die, but she was kind of a goner.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just like, I was just saying something because I didn't really ever think about love or even a potential family. It's like, hold up, you've only known her like a week. Like, talk to her first. Like, have a full length conversation with her first.
Yeah, pump those
At
brakes
the
a little bit, guy.
least. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jesus. think with the top head, not the other head. Anyway, moving on to my next one here. The man in gold then snapped his finger again. Oh yeah, this is the part when like he's snapping his fingers and like breaking creatures out of their trance and such. The man in gold then snapped his fingers again, and a huge Tyrannosaurus Rex started going after him, stepping on any dinosaur in its way while roaring its classic roar, which is not actually a real roar of a T-Rex. Since I'm assuming the classic roar they mean the Jurassic Park roar, which, fun movie fact, the iconic T-Rex roar is a combination of a baby elephant squeal, an alligator's gurgle, and a tiger's snarl. Like I remember reading and watching a documentary on the making of Jurassic Park, and that's like seeing how they got the T-Rex roar, like how they made that iconic roar. And it's fascinating how the sound design they went through to make that roar.
I know it's freaking crazy what they do. Like in Star Wars, the blaster noise is hitting a steel cable with a wrench.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, Foley artists are amazing. Like Foley artists and sound designers. Yeah, like people actually like they actually scientists speculate now that the T-Rex didn't so much roar like a trumpet that would like go across everything, but it was more like something. It wasn't something you heard; it was something you felt, like an alligator. Like it was like something like a low rumbling sound that you'd hear rather than an actual
bass.
Yeah, it was like a massive bass, and it may have even been used as a stunning attack because of how powerful the bass was. T-Rex just out there in the Cretaceous, just dropping the bass. Bump.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was the first. T-Rex may have in fact been the first dubstepper.
That's all he could do is step because his arms are useless.
So moving on to my next comment and quote here. Oh, do you have something?
Yes. In regards to the classic roar, this could also suggest that Nar is from an alternate timeline where humans and dinosaurs live together.
So he came from the Jurassic Park, from the Jurassic World universe. Holy fucking shit! It's a dinosaur. The lyric, the mock lyrics to that song, to that theme. But yes, yeah, maybe, probably not, but maybe.
Yep.
Okay. You okay there?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on then.
He's fine with you agreeing with him, kind of, sort of, not.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's a Mikey suggestion, so he makes him breaks.
What's that supposed to mean?
He makes him break. You're a rock star. Get your game on. Go play. Our jokes never get old, guys.
I'm sure it doesn't.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, I just meant that because, like, Mikey can make or break a story with his comments and his suggestions.
That's very true.
Yeah. So I'm gonna move on to the next one.
Okay.
Wipe them out. I can't stand to look at these disgusting things anymore. Enki knelt down to one knee. If you may grant me one last chance, I will prove to you I can make a race with the intelligence we need. I just need a little more time. The angel spoke up instead. It seems like you already have. And with that comment, I felt my soul spit out of my body with pure terror as the angel made eye contact with through the telescope. Oh, okay. So this has been a pretty surreal adventure, like thrill ride of events thus far. And I keep mentioning like that this feels like a scene from a film, and this is very cinematic in terms of like a B movie sort of like sci-fi horror thing. This is no exception. The eye contact gave me chills and reminded me of that scene from like Pirates of the Caribbean when Davy Jones looks at Jack through the spyglass and then just appears in front of the spyglass when he puts down the spyglass.
Nice.
It was a really good effect. What I'm trying to get at is this was a really good effect of being seen when you don't want to be seen by the thing you're spying on. Like, because you got to think of like in this scene, like Nair is like presumably a fair distance away, up on a hill, like observing this whole event, and then like
Just a specialized telescope of unknown power.
Yeah, so they may be like a few hundred kilometers away. So like there's no way this angel thing could be able to see it because it's an angel being or like some kind of like powerful being. It knows that they're there. Like it just has the presence there, right? So yeah, for all the fantastical things that are happening in the story and that it's laying down for us. For me, this was a very good moment of narrative weight because like suddenly the angel is like looking at the intruders.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, you're laughing. What's going on?
Oh, good, because
Why are you experiencing joy? Please explain yourself.
How dare you?
I just had the thought about the specialized telescope. Like it's got a bunch of bells and whistles, so it's like got cameras and things, but it only has 2x zoom.
They're actually like just up on a hill, like directly above. Like they're just like they think they're safe, but they're actually like only like 50 yards away up on a hill. Yeah, no, that's funny.
They're from Derpland.
Yeah, exactly. They're from the state of Derpland.
Mm-hmm.
That magical state of stupidity. I mean, they've already like decided. Oh, let's not do a non-controversial extinction event. Let's go. Nothing too controversial. We don't want to ruin like history by going and see if Jesus existed or the crucifixion of Jesus. To see the crucifixion. Wow. Dyslexic much? Jesus. The crucifixion of Jesus. But we're gonna go like beyond human history and potentially fuck up our own evolution by going to the extinction of the dinosaurs.
Here's the thing, though. They're not wrong because they said we wanted to choose something that's not controversial. That's not controversial. It's just stupid.
That's true. Yeah, it would be pretty controversial because if they brought back evidence like no, Jesus was actually like I mean. It's like if like one way or the other, it's like either like there was no like Jesus wasn't crucified, or he was like maybe he was just like it was just a regular dude who got and like it was like and like all that fanfare and stuff like that. Like you're gonna have like so many like religious people going on your ass for doing that. Like
exactly.
Or it's like
everyone agrees the dinosaurs were a thing.
Yeah, or it's the same kind of thing. It's like for time travelers, like there's sort of a rule in certain time travel circles and like time travel circle fiction where it's like. You don't go and kill Hitler while he was a baby because, unfortunately, we need to let that happen. Like that, it's like that kind of like controversial sort of thing.
Yeah, it's not to go on another tear talking about time travel shit, but yeah, I get it because if he didn't do all that shit, we wouldn't have been focusing on making our armaments and weapons better. So we might have like
not even that
still be in the Wild West or not even by. Right?
Well, yeah, and
like
that
if all that shit didn't happen.
Well, exactly, and I think the big thing is there. It's not that we don't want to kill Hitler. We want to kill Hitler, but the problem with doing that too early, like or going back in time and doing that early, is that you create a time paradox. Because without, like, as much as it sucks, without the World War II and like all the events that happened there, and like we might get an even worse person. Or all of our technology, including the the people who created the time travel machine, may not have existed as a result. Like it's the butterfly effect. So like again, like that kind of controversial kind of stuff. Like so, it's the same thing. Like the controversial thing going to see Jesus, like going to prove that Jesus existed, or like that he was crucified, like and like if that he was the Son of God. Like that would be very controversial for like most of the religious world. Whereas again, like. The dinosaur extinction event. I mean, like, well, like you said, it's not controversial. It's just stupid because you're right there when it happens.
Yeah. Even if anything they do there doesn't affect the future, they're gonna die
If
and
they
not
don't,
be able to come back and tell anyone what they did.
and then they're gonna, well, and that even makes the problem even worse because then they're gonna leave skeletal remains of modern humans in the Paleolithic period, as well as a time machine.
Yeah.
Like, because no one's gonna be around for that to go. Yeah, it's like this is why time travel
That's
sucks.
how they got the time machine in the first place. That's how they got the technology from the
God.
time
Yeah,
machine.
that would be. Oh my god. Yeah, it turns out Lester was actually like on a trip out in the Yucatan, like when he was a kid, and found like some old ruins that like depict the time machine, and that's how he got started on building the time machine.
Yeah, but it's his
Oh
time
my
machine
God.
that he used in the future.
And then we get time looped.
Yeah, I hate time travel. It's
Yeah,
so stupid.
yeah.
It's
This
move on.
is what happens when paradoxes happen. Yeah, the big issue with time travel, paradox. Or
They should really only just have one dock, honestly.
Yeah,
it's unnecessary to have more than one.
I'm just gonna walk by that. Moving on. So my next quote here. This went against science, logic, and even religion. If what the man in gold and the angel said were true, then that means that Enki being created the dinosaurs and somehow failed? Furthermore, that angel is insinuating that the reptilian is potentially the creator of the human race as well. Well, doing a quick Google search, Enki, Sumerian, is a Sumerian god of water, knowledge, mischief, crafts, and creation, and one of the Anunnaki. He was later known as Ea in Akkadian and Babylonian mythology. And that was a Wikipedia entry. Yeah, Enki is supposed to, like, in some cultures, he is a creator god. So,
yeah. I thought he was just made up for the story.
No, actually, Enki comes up a couple of times in creepypastas that we've done, like the In Torment series. The author uses Enki and a bunch of other sort of Sumerian and angelic names for his entities. So, and actually, a lot of them are they're from like the time before, like the time of Pangea and stuff. They go to the time of Pangea and stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of I mean, we've encountered Enki's name before in creepypastas. So, though as different entities, it seems.
Have we had a visual of him?
I mean, there's visuals online of Enki.
I meant in the stories.
In the stories, yeah, no, actually, we do have a couple of. He's in the other one. He's basically a like a I think it's a deer or like a deer or stag's skull, and in robes.
Right.
Yeah, I believe that was in the In Torment series.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it took a while. It took a while.
Yeah,
it has been a while since we've done a In Torment series. We'll have to go back to that at some point in the news because we still have to finish the In Torment stories.
Oh, I wasn't aware.
Yeah. But yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up because like I remembered Enki as a character from another creepypasta, and then I did a Google search on like what Enki is in actual mythology. So, and then my next one. I swear I'm getting close to the end of my actual thoughts, guys. I would eliminate you two right now, but it's easier if you depart your body in your course of time. Now hurry along. You don't want to go. You don't want to keep us waiting. And with that, I watched them fly away into the mass of floating animals, and then the beam of light appeared again. So, and this is like in result, like the angel just taking like all the dinosaurs and wiping out the rest of them, and then taking Lester and Elena, while telling the other two just to go back to their home time so they can kill them then. Because it would be easier for them. And it was like
inconvenience.
Yeah, and so like it's like, man, like I finally grasped like what horror the story is trying to get here. It's kind of like a cosmic horror. Just that like terrifying high concept notion of being in the presence of a force that shatters your entire grasp of reality and not being able to do anything to stop it. Like all because you were pursuing discovery. Like that's straight up a Lovecraft story. Like where like the our foible as humanity is our need to discover and know the truth. And when we find that truth, it's not what we expected and not what we wanted. And then just like being like discarded by an uncaring force. And then we get to the point where they get back. I'm just going to skim this one because I apparently copied down a whole paragraph again. where they get back and like everything's going horrible, and like they keep checking like the news reports, and like there's nobody there. Like there's reports of people walking off and just migrating off into the sea and such. And then Zach behind Nair is just like, I can't handle this. I'm sorry, my friend. And Nair's like, no, pop, and just like bang, like there's as Zach blows his head off. And I was like, well, I guess Zach critically failed his SAN roll, which is understandable. I think this would be a pretty harsh SAN loss if you're doing this in Delta Green. Like I imagine this was like he rolled a 100 on his SAN roll, and then because of the events, I'd probably put this as like you lose 1d100. And so he probably just like lost all of his SAN in one go and just offed himself.
Yeah.
So, and then we get to my final quote and my actual thoughts here. Let this post be a reminder of our mistake and a warning to whoever gets to read this, if anyone reads this at all. Never mess with things you don't understand, and some things should just stay a mystery. I gotta go. I can hear the buzzing. Okay, so I've seen this trope before. Like we've seen this trope before in recent memory on like creepypastas of like somebody posting this on something online as like kind of like a warning after they've like gone through like a harrowing thing. And it is kind of to be expected because in Reddit, because this is on Reddit, Nosleep, you're supposed to write the stories and take the stories as they've actually like they're things that have actually happened. However, that notion has actually popped an idea into my head, like a seedling of inspiration from this story. What if this is a document found on the deep web? Like lean into that facet since you added it at the beginning of the story. And perhaps there is like an online archive hidden away that details posts from alternate realities of doomed Earths. Like, I think it could be a really interesting and compelling like wraparound meta story or meta arc thing for something like maybe even like the SCP Foundation, like except more dark webbed. Like that kind of like format of like website where like there's like just stories of that are supposed to be like posts of people from other like timelines and other like and dead realities and such that just like get archived in the deep web somewhere.
It's almost like that other story where like they went to a cabin and they plugged it in the internet and it was like some other dimension.
The other internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have that like as like have that as like a website that's on the dark web or on the deep web. That you can like stumble upon, and even like you could even like make that an actual website online and just like make it like kind of deep webby, like make it look like traipse it in the aesthetic of like a deep web, like or what the notion is of a deep web website.
Yeah,
right?
And like at the start of the post, it says what like dimension that this post is from.
Yeah,
and then
like
each dimension has its own actual lore that's building up as the stories go through.
Exactly
what those worlds are currently like.
Yep. Yeah, like the SC, like basically like an SCP Foundation kind of thing, or like there's other sites that do similar things to the SCP Foundation, but like that use that format of like it is a community of writers who are writing different apocalyptic messages from other Earths and timelines and such.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a really cool kind of concept. And if that exists out there already, like if there is already like an archive like that out there, I would like to know. So somebody send us an email about that, or let us know through one of our various platforms. I also think it would make for a good idea, like wraparound thing for like a horror scenario kind of thing, where like somebody stumbles upon it and then they start like this could be like a Time Watch horror campaign where you're going to those dead timelines after finding the reports, to explore them further. Sort of like a slider setup.
Mm-hmm.
As it is, the other thing that popped in my head was my suspension of disbelief right at the end of this story as it concluded, because this didn't happen. Like we're not in that apocalypse, and I know like my unfortunately my immersion of the story like kind of just dropped right at the end because and I think. It's just because like I was like we're at the end of the story. It's like I'm not in that world, so like I don't know why this got posted on Reddit. Nosleep. So for me, sometimes the story needs to distance itself in the fiction, so you can when you're using this sort of ending, maybe make it so that us the reader is not the person who's reading the story,
Unless we are.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't say what happens at this event. So for all we know, Red Dude showed up, snapped his fingers, everyone on Earth all went to the same place, and then Enki just like messed with our minds a little bit to make us a little dumber, and then sent us back home.
That's right, because we don't have to. Yeah, that's some existential threat. Like it's like the existential threat of like wishing of a world with wishes. Because like if a world has wishes, how do you know what's changed? How does the major population know what's changed? Like what's been done to the world? Like only a select few, i.e., the person who made the wish, would even conceive of what had happened. So like I brought this up on some other podcasts, like the Kame House Party podcast. Like I've sent them an email about it when they were talking about like the Dragon Ball world, because in the world of Dragon Ball, you can wish for things to change. So like, what's to say that the reason why the world of Dragon Ball is not the way it is, or is the way it is, like crazy and like a Pangea Earth, and like there's animal people and there's like Saiyans and stuff like that, like all that kind of stuff. Who's to say that all of those like different facets of that world aren't just like generational wish making?
Yeah.
And like who would know?
Someone was like, I want the president to be a dog. It's like, all
right, well, for that to happen, I guess Shenlong's like, well, for that to happen, we need to have a race of dog men. So I guess the world has animal people.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but yeah, and no one would know. No one would be the wiser, because like the wishes aren't like they don't like give you omniscience on everybody's wish. So like you're just as augmented as the from the previous wishes as the people moving forward will be.
And even if the person who made the wish still knows that they made the wish, they'd be like, yeah, I made the wish that made dog people a thing. And then the dog people would be like, yeah, sure you did.
Yeah, no, you're crazy. Like no, clearly, like, animal people, like dog men have been around for since the dawn of time. like exactly, like that's the kind of thing. Like that
explains like all the street prophets you see saying like fantastical shit.
God.
They probably actually did the wishes.
Oh God, that could be a part of like the archive, like the street archive. It's like just street, like just some. Okay, now we're just going to world building, like fiction building for this potential like community of writing, where like you could have like people like in the archive that are like journalists or like tabloid people, like they mock themselves as tabloid writers, and they go to prophets across the world and just like write down their messages and stuff like that, and then post them on the deep web. Oh my God, I love that idea for like a game. Like that could be for like a horror scenario. That could be like an actual writing prompt. Also, and
what a thought out of this.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Thank you, gamer, for adding that existential threat to this.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm done. Mikey, you're up.
All right. So, my first thought here is like after they get out of the Bessie,
right? I forgot how they named it.
And it says Earth at this point has about 50% more oxygen than we are used to breathing.
Yep.
So there is a thing known as oxygen toxicity, where basically us humans, if we intake too many, or humans in general, if they take in too much oxygen, because the oxygen air is roughly only 21%, if you take in too much, it actually will damage and scar your lungs.
Yeah.
So
we actually need a mixture of like an appropriate like mixture of oxygen for air.
Yeah. So basically, knowing that it's figuring out how long it would roughly take for them to see, like I actually did calculations to find out how long it would roughly take for them to start suffering from oxygen toxicity. And what I found was that if in actual case studies is if you have roughly 2.5 times the oxygen after 16 hours, that's when it kicks in, potential damage to your lungs. So, and because it's 50% more that puts us at like 31.5% oxygen versus 2.5 times more.
Yeah, it's also I think that's actually the reason why the characters in Avatar, the movie with the blue aliens and stuff, why they needed like air masks. I think is because there was too much oxygen on that planet. Like the air was too dense for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's like it's yeah.
Add it to the list of unprofessionalness that these scientists did. They
so
should have had air.
Add it to this. Honestly, I'm so like again like it just goes back to like this isn't controversial. It's just stupid because like why did they go to the Cretaceous? Why did they go 65 million years in the past where like the Earth is completely different from from our modern Earth? Like even mammals have not modern mammals have not experienced this Earth. Like, and even failing that, there's radiation. Like the radiation is a lot higher in this time period than it is here. So like even if Nair survives the apocalypse when he gets back to the modern day, or even if Zach hadn't killed himself at the from a headshot, they probably both had cancer at that point.
Yeah.
Like the radiation is higher, the oxygen's higher. So why weren't they wearing outfits?
Yeah.
Why in God's name did they not wear spacesuits or some kind of environmental suits when they were going?
Hardest man in Derplin made his time machine.
Because again, that's another thing about the that's another like plot point in like the butterfly effect or like the Sound of Thunder story is that like by simply being there and breathing and exhaling you're basically adding viruses that haven't evolved yet and haven't these species haven't had time to haven't even dreamt of immunizing against. So like it's like that scene from when the Simpsons did it.
Yep.
when they did the Sound of Thunder as a trope or as an episode where the T-Rex roars at Homer and then he sneezes at the dinosaur and the dinosaur dies and then that dinosaur dies and then the other dinosaur dies and then everything he just wipes out the dinosaurs by giving them the common cold. Yeah, it's like they would need to be vacuum sealed, not allowed to interact with the atmosphere or environment at all because they went back so far.
Yeah,
which would mean they would need hover jetpacks that don't actually burn air. That they just have their own internal power source that doesn't affect the outside at all.
Yep,
they might anti-gravity jetpack things.
You know what? It'd almost be I feel like. If you're going to time travel, you should almost do they should discover if it's possible to astral project because astral projection shouldn't have any repercussions if you're a incorporeal being. You're basically just a completely a slightly out of phase observer. That's honestly probably the safest way to ensure that you can time travel is just not be there physically, but project your mind backward through time.
Because even sending a drone or some shit back there to record and come back, it's still interacting with the world. Yeah,
because it's creating emissions, even subtly, the emissions from the battery being used and stuff like that, or in the air. Yeah, even if they're using fans and stuff, there might be something that that attacks it, and then it gets it gets poisoned by the just the paint or the composition of the material.
Yeah.
And then you wipe out entire species that wipes out the human race because of evolution. It's time travel's scary, man. I think that's our takeaway from the story. We really got to pull our suspension of disbelief and just enjoy the popcorn aspect of time travel. Because otherwise, we've literally had three separate conversations about how scary time travel is here.
Yeah. And I mean the fact that they haven't debunked the butterfly effect.
Well, yeah, because it only took they spent after they spent a month finishing the time machine. They only spent a week to debate on what they should do, and then they launched. Again, the government would have definitely done baby steps, but I digress. I keep coming back to it. We keep dissecting the time travel and
yeah, and you also stole my note because I have the Treehouse of Horror.
Oh my God! I'm sorry.
Some Simpsons. So man.
No, I'm sorry. I took it away from you. I'm out. I'm just gonna mute myself.
Well, it got mentioned, so I mean,
Okay.
it's fine.
All right, I won't mute myself.
All
I
right.
continue.
So my next thought here is why are the gods conveniently speaking English?
Yeah, I had a note on that too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if they were telepathic and it's just like projecting across the world, like. But then again, that's really they should be speaking in like Aramaic or like
Just be an
Babylonian.
alien tongue, man.
Well, maybe, I mean, yeah, it could either be that or even like it could be Sumerian or Babylonian, since Enki is a Sumerian or Babylonian god. Or it could just even be Enochian, which is the. All right, to be fair, Enochian is technically a made-up language of angels that was claimed to be the language of the angels from a bunch of like 18th century occultists. But
They could have been right.
They might have been right, yeah. So it might have been just Enochian they're speaking. Yeah, so they should have just been speaking gibberish as far as the humans could tell.
Mhm.
Yeah, unless one of them just happens to be fluent in Enochian.
Yeah, which, I mean, you never know. Maybe Lester was, or maybe our G-Man was, because he's a deep web traveler anyway. So
Mhm.
he goes down random rabbit holes in the deep web.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was my note there. Is like they shouldn't have been able to comprehend the supreme beings.
Yeah, if anything, their heads should have just exploded from the sheer volume of their might and presence.
Mhm.
Like it should have been explained through actions why they were there,
Mhm.
Yeah.
not through words.
Although that is very hard because it's basically like trying to describe charades.
But the lizard guy could pick up a T-Rex and be like holding it like it's a baby of his, be like presenting it to him, and the other guy like grabs it, throws it down.
Yeah, it just destroys it instantly. Yeah.
Yeah, there's ways around it.
All right. And then my next thought here is what is the best rendition of the end of the dinosaurs? And my mind went to the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Long time ago, the world ruled by dinosaurs. They were big, so nobody would really hassle them. No people, in fact, because there were no people. Only the smallest mammals. Why do I remember that intro?
It's you. I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And the dinosaurs have Brooklyn accents.
Yeah.
Right.
You just don't get no better than this. Yeah.
May have seen that movie too many times.
Then a meteorite struck the Earth. Goodbye, dinosaurs. But what if the dinosaurs weren't all destroyed? What if the impact of that meteorite caused a parallel dimension where the dinosaurs lived and thrived and became horrible, offensive beings, just like us? And hey, what if they found a way back? Oh my God.
Wow.
I was like, wow, can I remember that entire monologue?
Seen the movie once.
I've seen it. I've watched it several times. It's probably one of my popcorn movies, like the ones that like I'll sit down and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Mikey.
Yeah, so that was my thought process there. It was hilarious.
I mean, my preferred one is actually the Rain of Fire extinction level event, where like the dinosaurs were wiped out by dragons. But because that's in Rain of Fire, the dragons basically like they were supposed to be the extinction event of the dinosaurs, where they came to being, and then they scorched the entire earth, and basically just like and fed on the ash and charred remains of the dinosaurs. And then when the world was purged of them, they just kind of went into a torpor and vanished.
Right?
But I do like the Mario thing as well.
Of course.
Yeah. Does Gamer in Yellow have a favorite?
Oh,
I feel like the Super Mario one should be the Gamer in Yellows, but
I've only seen that movie once, so.
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a preferred, like, what do you think what wiped out the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age.
I see you. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Schwarzenegger.
He's the best.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. And then the thought process of what actually killed the dinosaurs in this story. So my thought is that it was the time travelers, because the gods or entities, basically they created the dinosaurs, and they set themselves basically notification to let them know when they reached a certain level of intelligence. And then these time travelers come back, and then bam, there's some intelligent life on Earth. So
Oh,
it sets that off, which brings them down to check on the dinosaurs.
oh man, that's really interesting. Like that's an interesting plot point where like, yeah, what if they didn't they actually weren't supposed to go to the extinction event, like but because the people time traveled there, it kind of like it set off that alarm that they had. That's I like that.
Surprisingly plausible.
I actually really like that that potential reason why they showed up too early.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
God damn it, Lester, we could all have been reptile people.
Yeah, we could have all been sentient troodons or with like with hoverboards and stuff like that, and then we'll never get that chance. It'll be just another doomed timeline.
I'm playing a lot of Doom.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. And then
Actually, sorry, just slightly take it. Honestly, Doom Eternal is oddly thematic to this story with the angel who has like who's actually like not just like divine, but also has like high advanced technology.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like that, and then like, yeah, this kind of like is like almost like ancient alien divinity kind of going on here.
Mm-hmm. I can see that shit happening in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my final actual thought here, which sort of ties into the butterfly effect, was that when they get back from the past, if the broadcaster was a lizard person,
oh, that'd be so good. And then they're being cold, like they're being cold again, like because they finally found like they finally got the right one. Yeah, so like we get like that double fuck up where like not only did you fuck up by getting taken by the by having the creatures like by having the god beings take you or take some of your guys and then like you like sending you back into the present, you also done fucked up because you effectively changed the course of history and made humans reptile people.
Look down at your hands. You're a reptile as well.
No. They would still be human because they've hopped out of the timeline by time travel.
They hop back into it.
Yeah, no, but they would remain as they were because like that's the thing about time travel is that yeah. I mean, that would be really interesting too. It's like they're very like during the transition through time, their physiology changed because like they didn't have the proper like blocking fields or something around their time machine.
Adapts to the timeline that they're going into.
Oh my god, like that, like yeah, if that's again, that's a whole bucket of worms and like or a whole story in itself is like kind of how I referenced earlier as a joke is like by time traveling you start getting caveman speech like what if like as they were traveling back through time they started noticing they were becoming a little bit more primitive because of like the transition through the time stream.
So then they arrived there and they're straight up cavemen.
Yeah.
Or they
cavemen showed up way after dinosaurs, but yeah.
Yeah, or they forget what the time machine is, and it's like, what is this device? Because the whole thing was that they were too smart to be slaves, right?
Yeah. Which I feel like there's a deeper like thing going on in the behind the scenes of the story, but I think it's just this story, so there's no like deeper lore. I could be wrong, and if KiddKannibus would like to correct us, by all means, if they listen to this, let us know if there's more stories that you plan on writing about the higher beings that are using us as a petri dish for a servitor race.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is again more fodder for the fodder gods.
Really, you keep saying it's a bucket of worms. At this point, it's like a transport truck full of worms.
Yeah, exactly.
Open up just an avalanche of worms.
All right, gamer, you're up.
All right. My first note is reading the title and then reading the first sentence. Because based on how the title is, I kind of figured it was going to be a completely first-person perspective. But as it starts out, it was being narrated by something that seemed like an omniscient narrator. But by the end, it was a first-person account all along.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird how it just blended from one to the other.
Yeah.
It didn't start out being like, my name is Nair and I'm a scientist and we made a time machine. This is what happened.
Yeah,
Just-
like Zach gets an introduction. Like the second in command guy gets it, or like his friend gets an introduction fast before he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably should have just led with describing the main character. And then this is okay, so this quote is, there's no dinosaurs. Maybe we just landed in an underpopulated area. They probably spread out of the area after our arrival. The machine makes a pretty loud boom for entry. How would you know that? The only people who could witness the time machine arriving are people who aren't you.
Yeah.
Did they send it ahead 5 minutes in the future so they could just stand there and wait for it to arrive?
Yeah, no, they're baby step. They skim past the baby steps.
Yeah.
Like I think they did some trial test. It did. I think there is a mention of like trial, like a pre-test or something, or a pre-trial or something like that. But it's not really said, or it's not really like defined what those tests were. Like, did they actually like do that, like go back in time or something like that? I'm agreeing with you. Like how would they know that it makes a big boom?
It could just show up and just be like, there, it's there. Like a little toot noise or something.
Yeah.
When it comes to time travel, it seems like less is not more, because it just raises more questions.
Less is not more unless you wave a hand and is like, don't worry about it. It's magic.
Yeah. Pretty much. Even in that situation, how would they know that it makes noise on entry, even if it's powered by magic?
I mean, because it's magic. Like they just know about magic. Like because at this point, like
using magic, they looked through a crystal ball and witnessed it arriving in the past.
Exactly.
And heard it.
Or no, at that point, it's like it's not so much you have a time machine as you just have a wizard who can make a portal that goes into time, and then you when you exit that portal, like there's a concussive boom when you leave. It's like, oh, I could still hear the echoing boom from when the portal opened up.
But yeah, long story short of that is just I wish there was more things that were explained.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I don't need everything, just something.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, gamer.
Right, I love Satan as well.
Time travel sucks. I wonder if that's what the tall man was supposed to be, was like a devil or something like that. But I don't know, because like the angel is clearly a biblical angel, and Enki is like this creation god.
And the big red one is evil, quote unquote, because he's like angry and killing everything. So
and he's like more violent. Like maybe he's Ares. He could be the god of war.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Sorry, I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Odyssey lately, so I'm like a lot of the whole humanity was created by a superior or by a more advanced race before us as a servitor species, and then we revolted is kind of just like mingling a little bit with this. So
a little bit.
So
yeah,
anyway, moving forward.
Next quote is, the map was different than the modern one we were used to. It was strange to see the continents in different positions and angles. Pretty disorienting for someone who didn't know better. How do you know this? There's no satellites in the sky. You're in prehistoric time. How do they have like a map that they're looking at?
I'm almost wish again, like this sort of thing where more would have been better is if they had actually given us that they had like the after the time machine dropped in, they sent out a drone or something to
orbit.
To survey like a survey drone or something to like survey the territory.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, it's part of their looking glass.
Oh yes, the telescope.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It is. What was the term? What was the term for the telescope? I already forgot.
I thought it was just a telescope.
Oh, what they said it was like
specially
designed.
Oh yeah, specially designed. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Specially made telescope.
It's a waypoint. Like this is actually a video game simulation. Like again, going back to like my Assassin's Creed thing. Like this is all like you just have to like they synchronized when they got to the top of the hill. They synchronized and they knew the entire map.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And then my last note is literally just talking about the ending and how it doesn't really explain why there's a crater at the extinction event.
Yeah, right? Wait.
There's a crater there, but there's nothing that caused the crater.
Yeah, like I guess maybe like there is like the sky beam does go red and then like starts disintegrating everything. So maybe
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. It starts.
Skybeam didn't do that.
No, the Skybeam turned red after it after it lifted up all the animals, the ones that the chosen animals. It turns red. It appears again red, and it disintegrates the dinosaurs.
I don't know about that.
Let me take a look. Hang on, I have it up here. Hang on.
Searching for red. There's a lot of words that have red in them. Jesus Christ. I don't see red by itself though. Oh, crimson red. You're right.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, because I remember like they
yeah, I guess I checked out at that point. Okay.
I mean, it is pretty fantastical what happens. So
is everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, if the energy beam is vaporizing all the dinosaurs, doesn't that mean there's no bone?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it do. Well, you see, this is from the same like super future tech that made the laser that specifically targets meat. That make a hole in your teeth
Oh my god!
And not target bone. It's the same thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Also,
like, what if the red skybeam just vaporized all the dinosaurs that were by the crater or by the impact site or ground zero, but then like the purging of like the rest of like the world, like just basically like killed off the dinosaurs, like the aftershocks and stuff like that killed off the rest of the dinosaurs.
But it wasn't vaporization at that point.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Maybe. There's a lot of questions. Really? Okay, so time travel works when you don't think about it too hard. But like most of this story.
I'm told to read a story and think about it real hard. It's like...
That's also our show.
Yeah, I'm kind of set up to fail on this.
Yeah, God damn it. We are critically silly about the stories.
Pretty much. Yeah, that is my last notes, and then just on to final thoughts.
Cool. So, on to final thoughts. For me, this was very, like, again, turn your brain off. Don't think of time travel too hard. Pulpy, thrill ride, kind of cinematic, like sci-fi channel levels of like B-movie schlock kind of like plot, but still enjoyable, and had some good beats of like cosmic horror, apocalyptic revelation as it concluded. However, the ending does kind of like break my immersion because of that, just the way that style of creepypasta or like Reddit Nosleep story is kind of written. Definitely, yeah, I'd say it's flawed, but it was still fun for me to read. So I'm going to generally recommend it. Just because like I did have fun reading this, despite I just had to turn my brain off for good portions of it. So, yeah. That's going to be my recommendation, is like kind of a mostly positive partial recommendation. So, Mikey, the E stands for evil.
You said that was such like resignated.
I did not mean to, but I heard, I was like, yes, Mikey, the E stands for evil.
Resentment. That's the word I was trying to find. Jesus.
Yeah. So the story is sort of interesting because it's got time travel in it, but it mentions the butterfly effect and then doesn't realize that they haven't debunked the butterfly effects. So
it straight up says they haven't debunked it.
Yeah,
that wasn't their purpose, though.
But
yeah.
I mean, the fact that they haven't debunked it means that everything that they're doing is causing butterfly effect.
Yeah,
yeah, true.
It's kind of like in a movie where like a bad like B like or C-rated movie that has like in the kids like room there's a poster of a much better movie. Like it's kind of like oh right, I could be watching that. or oh yeah, you're kind of poking the holes in your own plot and story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By bringing them to light, like by just like straight up like announcing the plot point or the plot hole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as Review Cultist pointed out, I would have preferred a different ending, and I think the whole Lizard Man broadcaster would have been hilarious.
That was so good.
Yes.
Damn you, Mikey! Why do you have to make things better? How dare you?
But as it stands, it's just getting a partial recommendation for me.
Okay. Then I guess on to Gamer.
Well, for me, I just couldn't get into it, the immersion of it or nothing.
Yeah.
Because like And reading through the whole story, I was waiting for like something like creepy to happen in this creepypasta. And yeah, giant godlike monsters massacring everything. That's great. But before I even got there, my immersion was I was so far pulled out of the immersion, my brain was so turned off. It was like I was watching a freaking Michael Bay movie or something, It's not that that's a bad thing. It's just it's not a creepypasta, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, the thing with this is like it's the horror it's going for is on an epic scale. Like it's cosmic horror, like because it's something like greater than us, like huge, and like it's a revelation that you're supposed to get from it. But it's not that kind of horror isn't for everyone. Like, and yeah, even like I admit, like I can get the cosmic horror of the story, but to me it was also almost like an epic horror, and that is really hard to actually get any actual creepiness or horror from because of the epic part of it, or like the fantastical part, like just all the fantastical parts of the story.
Yeah, especially when the creatures like speak English and they very loudly say everything that they were doing to explain it to the humans.
Yeah, apparently that telescope is also like specially designed to have a shotgun mic, like a really good shotgun mic attached to it, so they can hear it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, those
things
are just like
mic, actually.
A what?
It's a sniper rifle mic.
Yeah, you know, shotgun mic like is like a term, right?
I know.
Okay.
I was picking a longer range weapon because it's a longer range mic.
Okay, thank you for.
I'm being critically silly. Let me do it.
Oh, fine. God.
I'll allow it.
Motion passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm like just thinking of it like otherwise they're just like you're just hearing like from that hill like hundreds of miles away. You're just hearing like and over from like over at the crater, like the guys at the beings are just like, wipe them out. I can't stand to look at these disgusting things anymore.
And the angel's like, you don't have to yell. I'm right here.
Yeah. It's like, if you may grant me one last chance, I will prove to you I can make a race with an intelligence we needed.
Then the angel's like, are you guys like on a play or something right now?
Yeah, and then the angel is just like, it seems like you already have. I'm not your buddy, guy. He's not your guy, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So the entities are actually partially deaf.
Yeah. Or to be fair, like again, like kind of like with the whole like divine beings, like they're boisterous, they're loud, like they're titans. So like maybe their voices are just like far-reaching kind of things. So like but yeah, otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it's one thing if they like flew a drone in. Yeah. So they could, but it was like a really sneaky drone and they didn't know it was there. But
until the angel looks at it and then looks at them and then is there. Sorry.
Yeah, it's way too ridiculous for it to be a creepypasta. As a story, it's interesting and I like it. But as a creepypasta, no, not really.
Yeah, it definitely
their actions didn't even change the future really, unless it did, but that's only because we read into it way too much.
Which, if you do, you start looking at the holes.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the words that are there for us to read, it's not really explained that what they did caused it, even though, well, I mean, I guess it kind of did, because they went there, and then he's like, go back to your time, so we'll fuck you over there, and then they did that, and then they fucked, so I get it. They screwed up the world. But, it's at such a huge scale that I'm, like, disconnected from it.
No, and I get that because like I've been like kind of muddling over my head like I want to see some epic horror like and like that kind of thing where like and this is definitely like epic horror, cosmic horror, divine horror in some ways. But it like I understand this is kind of like the foible of like why that's really hard to do because of keeping that like it's a different kind of creepy. It's not like the creepy that we're all used to. Like creepy in that it's like more downplayed, more personal, more like localized. Whereas this is like at a certain point when it gets like global threat level or like existential threat level, or like when it tries to do that, sometimes it gets so fantastical and so grandiose that it stops being scary because like it's just more of a thrill ride or just more of a kind of an not an action pasta, but more just a sci-fi pasta.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's really what it kind of feels like. Also, again, with this, it's weird that this is on Reddit Nosleep, but then again, Nosleep has a history of like saying, like, having in their rules, your stories must be based in reality, and then have stories like this that are constantly coming out on the site.
Yeah, a story which at the end says that reality is about to be destroyed. Meanwhile, I'm here in reality reading it.
Yeah, and that's where I think like this story would have been a lot better if it hadn't had that like try and like buy in that you are reading this in fiction, whereas it should have been like you're reading a story, and like the narrator isn't actually even one of the people there. They're just an omniscient like narrator. And so you're reading about a world. You're not reading in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of trying to get at earlier. And I do, like, I sympathize and agree with you. Like, as this is not really a creepy. This doesn't have the creepiness of a creepypasta.
No. Granted, it could with some changes. I'm not going to say they're minor changes because they're pretty big, although they sound minor. One being the giant godlike entities should not be speaking English. They should not understand them. Then just explain what they mean through their actions. Because then it's this giant unknown force that's saying these words you don't understand and destroying the freaking dinosaurs in one foul swoop.
Yes. Like,
it's way scarier there.
It's basically show, don't tell, which is basically what this story does. It tells us what their plans are rather than shows us fully. Like it does show us some of it. Like they are like wrecking the dinosaurs, and they like we do see what they're doing, and they do things with their actions. But I feel like to what you're saying, it should be that they're just all showing. Like we don't have any context as to what they're actually saying and what their motives are, because that's what brings up the scary part, is that we don't know what they're doing or what their motives are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if Godzilla talked.
Yeah. Which, I mean, we've seen that. It happened with baby Godzilla. It's not good. Like, there's a reason during the 60s and so, like during the 60s and some of the 70s, Godzilla was treated more like a superhero than a horror monster.
Yes.
Because
but
he was
saying like if the scary regardless, the scary unfeeling I'm gonna kill the whole city Godzilla also talked.
Yeah.
It would be a lot less scary.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what this is kind of,
because again, like we've had the examples of that too, where like Godzilla like goes, even when Godzilla has like when there's another monster, Godzilla will go and fight the monster. He's not talking at all. He's not saying like, yeah, I'm gonna help the humans. Bam, bam, bam. Like he like does like does his atomic breath, kills the monster, and then walks over and destroys the city himself.
Yeah, of course, it's his city to destroy.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just territorial, really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like that, like the actions would actually be scarier than like with the words in this case.
Yeah, and at the end, when they went back, there was something that changed way more due to the butterfly effect, aside from just the fact that the gods saw them in the past and targeted them in the future.
Oh,
because of that, but
like. We hear the monster, like we hear the god being saying Enki to the one thing, but that's all we hear. Like that's all like kind of like that really gets said. Like they address that one creature as Enki, and then like they go back in the future, like to the present day, and again like Mikey said, there's lizard people now because of like what happened, because like the course of time changed, and like the lizard reporter is like. It's like, and in other news, our supreme creator Enki has decided to start the mass migration once now, finally, after a millennia. Hi, I'm Vegeta from Dragon Ball.
Oh, all right, there's something else to draw.
Back to you, Nappa.
He's got to have like the huge widow's peak just in like either feathers or some scales on his head and shit.
Yeah. Sorry, again, I've been listening. I've been also listening to the Kame House Party. I've been hanging out with the Kame House Party crew a little too recently. So,
mm-hmm.
Oh god,
yeah, that's about all I got to say. It's, in my opinion, not really a creepypasta. It's an interesting story, but so as a story itself, I'll give it a light recommendation because it was fun to go through and see where they were going with it, because it wasn't what I was expecting at all. However, as a creepypasta, I wouldn't recommend it because it's not scary at all.
That's fair. So, total wrap up then. Partial recommendations all around, mainly because it was a fun read, but it wasn't terribly scary, and it is flawed if you think about it too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time travel, so that makes you think about it too hard.
Yeah, because time travel is like one of the biggest sci-fi like think pieces of the genre.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there is a bigger topic in sci-fi other than is there life on other planets.
Mm-hmm.
So that was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're also you can also get a hold of us on Twitter. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W because his name is long. He ran out of space.
Yeah.
And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCP entries, spooky stories, Reddit Nosleeps. Heck, we probably in the next couple of years, I mean, God willing, we survive that long after 2020. We'll probably do another November. Will probably be like go to like Reddit November or something of the like, since we've been doing this kind of like Niche-vember this year as kind of like a taste.
This year and every year.
Yeah.
Every year, November has a niche of some kind.
Yeah, but this year has been like kind of like almost like a taster of like various different types of. Yeah, it's like when you go to a brewery and you like to get a taster of like all their different beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get that's what November's kind of become now is our kind of our taste center.
I guess we should have went like, and this is the taste test of Dinovember. Dinovember was back in year bleh, if you guys want to check it out.
We should have. We didn't think that far ahead, much like some aspects of the story.
I mean, yeah. Maybe we fixed it, it's fine.
Yeah, maybe. Wait,
they're not posted yet. But work, I get it.
Effort, as another popular podcaster once did, or what has once said. But regardless, if you'd like to help support this show, please check out our Patreon. You can look up Al Dente Rigor Mortis, select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. If you are a patron already, thank you immensely because you're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. If you would like to buy our logo on some merch, like a T-shirt, some pins, a sticker, or if you want to be one of those really cool fans, you could get a shower curtain with Al Dente Rigor Mortis logo on it. That would be, and then send us a picture of that you have as evidence that you have it. That would be amazing. But otherwise,
even if it's me.
But otherwise, like again, all like the proceeds go to the show, and we very much appreciate it. To our listeners, thank you immensely, because without you, we would just be screaming into the void, and where would we be? But crazy cultists. Wait, aren't we already? Anyway, and to the writers of these stories, thank you immensely, because without you, we definitely wouldn't have a show, because we wouldn't have anything to talk about and read and enjoy. So thank you. Until next time, I've been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis. Sleep well.